Hello, everyone, and welcome to the latest ADGM Think. Our podcast is where we find out what's on the mind of financial leaders and experts within our ecosystem. My name is Sarah Cocker, and it's a great pleasure to host you here today. Now, the UAE is an emerging dynamic business hub, and Abu Dhabi has become a destination of choice for asset managers and fund management entities. On this episode, we're going to sit down with a leading asset manager, and he's going to give us a snapshot of the growing asset management sector in the region. With us today, we have Alex Mitchell. He is the senior principal at Mubadala Capital, and we're going to be talking about Abu Dhabi Catalyst Partners. So welcome to the show, Alex.
It's a pleasure to be here.
And let's just give everybody a bit of an overview on Abu Dhabi Catalyst Partners and the key factors that are driving your strategy.
Sure, of course. So Abu Dhabi Catalyst Partners is a $1.65 billion asset manager. We're a partnership between Mubadala Capital, and Alpha Wave. And at a high level, we look to deploy capital to deliver strong returns and to deliver impact here in the ADGM. I'll talk a little bit about how we got here. So Mubadala has a heritage of what used to be called double bottom line investing. That means investing for returns, but also investing with a purpose, investing to grow and develop and diversify the Abu Dhabi economy. I think of Catalyst as, a thesis that is inspired by that way of thinking. The story started with a series of high-level conversations between Hani Barhush, who's Mubadala Capital CEO, Rick Gerson, who's Alpha Wave CEO, and leadership at Mubadala, including Walid Al-Maheri, about what could be done to support the growth of the institutional finance ecosystem here. And that's the mindset that we go into our work with. The way we do that is through investments, and we partner with asset managers and with businesses, typically with investments of $25 to $50 million, always with that commercial mindset and financial returns orientation, but also looking for that impact here. And what does that really concretely mean? It means people building great businesses, hiring great teams, being a supportive part of the ecosystem, and using our capital, using our connections, and using our counsel to grow the ecosystem here in Abu Dhabi.
So that gives us a really good overview of who you are and what you're up to. But what do you think it is about Abu Dhabi that's attracting all these asset managers?
It's a good question, and it's something that is a very hot trend at the moment, I would say. So there are many reasons. I'll highlight three. For me, I think one of the most important is it's a thriving ecosystem. People are attracted by that. We have great talent. We have great infrastructure, not just the buildings around us, but also the ADGM, and there's huge ambition. Secondly, I would say the regulatory environment. We're fortunate to have a forward-thinking, well-structured regulator that partners with businesses, that thinks about growth, and that is supportive to growing businesses. And thirdly, I think people have traditionally thought about Abu Dhabi as somewhere to come and raise capital, but increasingly, Abu Dhabi is a place not just for regional businesses, but for global businesses to deploy from. It's extremely well connected into regional markets, which are growing, and it's a great position from a time zone perspective for global businesses to expand into.
And I think your latest portfolio day demonstrates that you had with ADGM Secondary Fund 9. French, had a long history with Mubadala. Yeah. What was it about Abu Dhabi that attracted them, and what happened on that portfolio day? What's on the minds of these investors?
Yeah, so let's start with the portfolio day. So essentially think of that as our AGM. We're in the business of making money. We're also in the business of building an ecosystem. And so it's a great opportunity to bring everybody together. That's Mubadala Capital, Alpha Wave, but also the ADGM, our portfolio companies, the wider ecosystem. And it's just a great day to bring everybody together and kind of celebrate the successes that have been had so far and look forward to the opportunities that are coming. And so we had about 150 people this time around. We had Walid Al-Maheri open it. We announced the partnership with ADGM, as you say, and Dominique Senekier, who is the founder and CEO of ADGM, came and gave a keynote speech. We had speakers from Brevin Howard, from the ADGM, from Invest Industrial, and great global names who were there. And the Ardian partnership is reflective of where we are as a business today. It's $150 billion plus asset manager, multiple offices around the world, long relationship with Abu Dhabi that saw what's going on here, saw the opportunity and said, now is the time we're going to build a scaled business in Abu Dhabi. And that's the perfect time for Catalyst to engage.
It seems like the floodgates are well and truly open now for asset managers, and of course the expansion that we're seeing here on Reem Island is one of those. Obviously, we've got you here at the table, and a lot of people say, yeah, but what are you investing in? Because we know that there's a long list of potential investors. Talk us through the potential sectors and asset classes that are of interest at the moment.
So the way we think about it, and if you look at our portfolio, that's reflected, is we're balancing four things, I think. One, global trends, global markets. Two, regional trends. And I think, it's worth spending a second on the Reem Island expansion. We started 5 years ago. The ADGM has developed enormously since then, and I'm sure it'll develop enormously over the next 5 years. But that signal to the market, we're expanding the jurisdiction by 10 times. I mean, that's, speaks to the ambition that's here. And I think that's one of the things that is attracting, global businesses. Then, that said, if we look at our mandate and how we operate, we have to be flexible. We focus on a couple of areas. We are biased towards deploying into private markets. We have a focus on asset managers rather than direct investments, but we really are flexible across asset class, geography, sector, balancing those four things: global, regional, financial returns, and strategic outcomes.
So what are your broader goals when you are sort of investing? Obviously, people kind of forget that we need to make some money here as well. But talking about that, what other things are you looking at?
So I talked a little bit about impact. The first question we ask ourselves when we look at investment opportunities is, why would this business come here? What are they going to benefit from in Abu Dhabi? And what are they going to be able to build here that perhaps they couldn't build somewhere else? And when we have an answer to that question, that gives us a good start. So if you look at the portfolio and you look at how we've executed on that, there's a cluster of investments that are focused on MENA, that are focused on regional markets, private markets, asset managers primarily deploying into those geographies. We think here's a great place to build businesses that are focused on those geographies. From a sectors perspective, we try to focus on sectors that are relevant to the UAE. And so we have investments in energy transition, food security, logistics and transportation, for example. But there is also, a much wider group like Ardian of big, global, diversified asset managers who see Abu Dhabi as the next place to grow their business, and we're very supportive of that as well.
So I want to come back to that because, as you said, Ardian is kind of a symbol of it, as well as the other things that you've been up to. But the impacts that you've had on job creation, because that's one of, not so much a mandate, but one of the key things that's happened here. And in terms of the job creation in ADGM as well, what does that picture look like at the moment?
So again, if we start at 2019, when we launched the business, the team were hired, and our team were hired with a very broad, very ambitious mandate. And as they got started, COVID hit. And for any investor, COVID was a strange time. But for an investor who's focused on building teams, bringing people to Abu Dhabi, the task got multiples harder. They pushed through, they worked hard, and we have some great examples of success stories where we seeded, anchored, co-founded businesses that are now out there raising third-party money, scaling teams, and we're very proud of those. And now as we sit today, we're at well over 400 jobs committed to Abu Dhabi, with a lot more great partnerships to come, I'm sure.
And everybody's trying to judge the markets. Obviously, I'm not going to pin you down to one single day. The discussions, are we at the peak? Are we not billionaires selling? What does it all mean? But where do you see the kind of investments that you're looking at in the next 3 to 5 years in terms of Abu Dhabi Catalyst Partners?
It's a very good question. I think if, we've looked backwards, and so, now's a good time to look forwards. But looking backwards, when we started, I don't think you could predict exactly where we are today. So I think take everything with a pinch of salt. My personal view is this trend of asset managers, businesses, family offices, banks, large global institutions coming to Abu Dhabi, building businesses here, is not going to change anytime soon. For us, that presents a huge wave of opportunity. We partner with these businesses, we bring them here, we help them scale. And that, the more of that, the better, in simple terms. We'll continue to focus, as we have, on a diverse portfolio, on operating with those four things in mind: strategy, financials, local assets, and global assets. And we're very excited about, the next 12, 24, 36 months.
Well, we look forward to sharing that with you. Meanwhile, Alex Mitchell from Mubadala Capital, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Sarah. It's been a pleasure.